Let me tell you something. I look at people like Al Sharpton, and just for a moment, I'm going to bring up Al Sharpton and Charlemagne the God, whatever that is, I have no idea. Obama. Let me say something to y'all. I've been black all my life. And can't none of these men hold a candle to me in terms of the understanding. And none of them. Dr. King may have been arrested, but I've been beaten and arrested. I've been falsely imprisoned. I've been falsely accused for a crime I didn't do. I spent 3 years in prison for something I did not do, right? I worked in the cotton fields. I picked tobacco. That's right, I've jumped over snakes that will bite. I've raised in a 3-room shack. That's right, raised, poured in Job's turkey. I've been to the office buildings. I've been to the boardrooms of the major corporations. I've worked in the banks. I've been on television. I've been featured in the New York Times. I've done all of that. These men can't hold a candle to my repertoire of life events and my resume of being a black man, and I've never been anything but that, a leader. I got crazy at one point in time, but they can't hold a candle to my resume. And I'm saying that they are the reason why. See, the white man, when he opened up the door for the black man to come in through the marching of Dr. King, he also held the power of choosing who will be leaders and who will not. At one point, they tried to make James Baldwin a black leader. Sammy Davis Jr. tried to make them black. What they know about leading black people? They may be leading Negroes, but they don't know nothing about leading Negroes or how to lead Negroes. And so that's why God's he's killing the black man. I'm going to bring up Al Sharpton and a discussion held the other day with, and mainly featuring out a whole lot of things. The killing in Georgia was one thing, and this guy Charlemagne the God. Now I don't know very much about Charlemagne the God. I never listened to. I guess he's some sort of radio personality. I don't know who he is. I think anybody who calls himself a God got something wrong with him. You know, I figure something wrong. I don't know his politics. I have no idea. This much I do know. He's very popular among, the Negroes, the black people, the haters, the politicians. He's very popular among that crowd. So anybody that's popular among that crowd ain't right with God. But beyond that, I don't know him. I guess I should study him before I start. And I won't make as many accusations against him because I really don't know him. But I know Al Sharpton. So Mr. Engineer, I want you to bring it up. Leave my mic open because I want to make some discussion about what I hear these two saying.
Joe Biden is rolling out a new plan to fight systemic racism. He calls it Lift Every Voice, the Biden plan for Black America, and promises to root out racism from American laws, policies, institutions, and hearts. Joining me now to discuss it, the Reverend Al Sharpton, president of the National Action Network and host of Politics Nation here on MSNBC, and Charlemagne the God, author, radio and television personality, and host of The Breakfast Club on iHeartRadio. Fellas, it's awfully good to have you both here. Rev, to you first here. Your initial assessment of this plan, a huge lift, by the way. But how do you feel about him reaching into that James and John Johnson spiritual for the title?
Well, I think that Lift Every Voice, the title is the title of the Black National Anthem. And the title is one thing. I think the content is something that we have to examine. 22 pages, very extensive. A lot of it, though, has to be passed by Congress. So I think that a lot of it you would have to deal with a Democratic Senate and a Democratic House. There is serious examination. In fact, Alex, over the weekend, we lost one of the music moguls, Andre Harrell, who was on the phone breaking this down.
Okay, so this is, right now, Al Sharpton is America and the world's foremost Negro leader. He's at the top of the scale. Obama is the most popular, but Obama's a former president, and they have to take a back seat, keep their mouths shut, and not get involved in activities. Once they become president, they're really they're shuffled off to just kind of nestle in their accomplishments. Al Sharpton, I don't know if he prepared for this, and maybe I didn't see the whole thing, but that when Alex Witt brought up, lift every voice, that comes from the Negro hymn, lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmony of liberty, that our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let us march on till victory is won. James Weldon Johnson. Sharpton knew it was a Negro national anthem, but he didn't know the author of it. And even though Alex Witt told him what it was, he didn't catch that. But Al Sharpton is now, here is a man that got started with a con job with Tawana Brawley. All right, he may have thought he was representing her, and he may have thought at one point she was telling the truth. I don't know. But it was alleged, it was discovered in courts afterwards that he ran a Murphy, that he ran a con job. He has been listed and published in the New York Post, which he never sued, the New York Post, for publishing that he was listed by the FBI as CI7, confidential informant number 7, in a drug deal between the mafiosa here in Staten Island and Al Sharpton being a bag man and selling drugs in Harlem. And the FBI gave him, in the narcotics division, gave him a pass if he would testify against the mafiosa. And he did, and he lived. And everybody knows that. The New York Post and several other major media did a report on that, and he never sued them because it was true. Not only that, but when the Jews got ready to buy Harlem, they gave Al Sharpton $800,000 cash in a shopping bag. And Al Sharpton agreed not to lead one march against gentrification. You have never seen Sharpton raise his voice in a march or protest against gentrification. He got paid $800,000 nearly 25 years ago to not raise his voice. He's a sellout. Yet, this is the Negro's leader, right? He is the foremost Negro leader in America right now, save Barack Hussein Obama. And by the way, it's Obama that made him, because Al was in the doldrums. He was on his way out till Obama picked him up and kissed him and brought him down to the White House. MSNBC put him on television. He's been sailing ever since then. Now, I don't know about Charlemagne. I'll have to find out about him. But I can tell you that this guy's a damn phony right here. He's a damn phony. He's a sellout. He lives among the J-Ford people. He won't even live in Harlem. Don Lemon lives here, but Sharpton don't. Don Lemon's on CNN. Sharpton's on MSNBC. Sharpton lives downtown among the J-Ford people. He's a sellout. And yet that's the Negro's leader. And guess who they called when they shot Ahmed Arbery down in Brunswick? They called this clown. They call this clown. Can you see how messed up that is? This clown, this con man, this drug dealer, this sellout. And he's been published in the newspaper. And the FBI documented, the FBI did not refute the fact that he's a confidential snitch. And yet he's America. So you see why the problem is? See? All right, Mr. Engineer, go ahead.
We had a series of conference calls when we suspect that he had the heart attack that led to his death on a Thursday night or Friday morning, because he was passionate about this. There will be some counter proposals. They say in the Biden campaign, it's a living document, and many of us will be giving some additions and some advice. I think it is a good start, but I think that it clearly needs to be dealt with by some in the black community, black thinkers and influencers that can say, but we need to deal with this and deal with other issues specifically. And
but
then
you
how
don't
do we
even
get
live in the black community, Sharpton. You don't, and you sold out Harlem, and you did. By the way, Joe Biden's a freak. I'll get to him in one of our future broadcasts. Go ahead, Miss India. I want to hear what Charlemagne has to say.
Will he do executive orders where he can, and what will those executive orders really be if he is elected?
So, Charlemagne, I'd love you to pick up on the suggestions here by the Rev, because I know you've been saying that since the primaries, in fact, that African-American voters should look at how each specific candidate plans to address their specific concerns. Are there aspects of Biden's plan that do appeal to you?
Yes. Well, first of all, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to you, Alex, and what's
Thank
up to the
you.
Rev? Peace, Rev.
Peace.
Yeah, I thought the economic, yeah, I thought the economic plan was cool, but it's cool to me because I already have a couple dollars. Like, if you want to create economic mobility for Black workers, businesses, and communities, that's great. But we all know you can't small business, home ownership your way out of poverty.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. He just stole the very foundation of the way every person, every nation has ever risen economically, in the way America's greatest wealth is in home ownership and in small businesses. The small businesses make up the largest part of the employment of America. Haven't you heard all of that? Haven't you? They are the ones that keep America. They're the ones that pay the tax. They're the ones that employ, not the major corporations. And it's through that process that you lift a man from poverty through home ownership and business ownership. And he just shot it down. He just shot it down. And he didn't admit it. He said, I got money. I don't need it. I got money. I don't need it. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Engineer.
Have the capital for any of those things. But like the Rev said, it's a start. It's a living document. So to me, this is a negotiation. And we all know votes are quid pro quo. You know, they give me something, I give them something. I'm just looking for the best deal.
Okay. And
all right, okay, Mr. Engineer. That's enough of that. I think that we could go further with them. Well, the reason why I pulled these two up is because these are two very popular Negroes. They're very popular. And I think to Alex Witt's I suppose, compliment that she brought two up, because Sharpton doesn't really agree with Charlemagne. They both have radio broadcasts. Sharpton has television broadcasts. Sharpton's still on television and radio. Charlemagne, I think, there's a thing he just said called The Breakfast Club, and a lot of people listen to it. You know, and I suppose, and I can see his views are different, and I've watched the end of this, and they were really kind of, Sharpton has to shoot him down, because Charlemagne says in his last statement to Alex Witt, in order to deal with what happened with Arbery down in Brunswick, Georgia, that Black man need to arm himself, get guns, learn how to use them, and so forth and so on. That's what he said. And Sharpton retorts, no, we're nonviolent. So they were at each other's throat on that issue. But what I want to say, these are the two of the most popular Negroes in America today, right? And you can see just listening to that, if you take the time to dissect it under the truth, you can see why Jesus is killing the Black man. Because if that's who their leaders are, then their leaders are leading them to death. And it's important that we recognize, people, you don't have to like what I say. Listen, people, to this very day, I'm going to be hated throughout. Even people going to the lake of fire going to hate me because I pointed out that Obama was half Black, half man, half woman, half white. And he was not sent to help Black folk. And to this very day, I am hated as a result. And I'll take that to my place in the 1,000-year reign of peace and my judgment seat with God. Because people believe that Obama, but after the so-called Black president, they're still shooting down Ahmaud Arbery. So looking at this, Charlemagne says, owning a small business, you better not tell Elder Paul McFarquhar that, owning a small business and owning a home, is not the way out of poverty. Can you imagine anybody? And he got millions of people listening to him. He said, that ain't the way out. That's not the way out. He says, you can't tell a Jew that. Can't tell any successful businessman that. Can't tell Colonel Sanders that. You can't tell Jeff Bezos that. Then owning a small business is not the way out. Anyway, so this is who we're listening to, and this is the reason why God is killing the folk that he's killing the way he's killing them. But it needs to be clear, and it needs to be important here that, so after watching this, and you say, well, Pastor Manning, if Dr. King, and I give Dr. King some juice, but I can tell you this, Elijah Muhammad, and though I don't agree with his Islamic ideology nor his hate the white man as devil, I don't agree with that. And Malcolm X, I don't agree with his. But I'm going to tell you something. Marcus Garvey, and to some degree I'll give Booker T. Washington, they were able, Marcus Garvey owned all the businesses in Harlem, cleaners, restaurants. He owned every business in Harlem, was owned by the Negro improvement movement until he got sold out by some of his people that had joined his organization and rose up and sold him out. Can I share something with you that has, I've known about this for years, and I've taught about it, sparsely in some of my Bible teachings. And that is this, and I raised the question on Saturday because I believe God's going to let me lead men into the 1,000-year reign of peace, lead the Hamite man there and the elect. But my problem, when I look at him, he hates discipline. He don't want you to tell him how to live. He don't want you to tell him how to act. He don't want you to tell him how to pull his pants up. He don't want you to tell him how to have strength. He hates discipline. He hates it. He doesn't demonstrate any character. Listen, the black man gave Harlem up to the white man. He gave it up and then let the white man tell him to jug his brother in the feces hole. Crazy is that? He gave Harlem to the white man and said, we're glad the white man here because the garbage gonna get picked up. Sold his churches and then let the white man tell him to jug his brother in his feces hole. And the church mama, 85 years old, sitting up in the church, well, love is love. And you think, and that's Sharpton and Charlemagne, I don't know what Charlemagne's position is on Sharpton. I don't know. I don't know the man. I really don't know him. I don't know Charlemagne. But you see why God is killing them? And rightly so. He gave up the businesses of Harlem. Charlemagne, a black man owned Mr. B, Red Rooster, Will Small Paradise, right? And prospered. Charlemagne, you say black, small business and home ownership is not the way. The white man came up with his bank. He got a half white, half black man, opened up a new Red Rooster right up the block from where I sit. Small businesses. And making a killing. With home ownership, they become millionaires by buying the brownstones and developing the buildings and the restaurants in this community. Charlemagne, you're wrong, homie. You're wrong. You're just flat out wrong. And that's why God's killing the black man. And he's using the white man to do it. This is a bit of a news blog we do, looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting, rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I am he. I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.